Man finds footprints in mud. Here's something behind him. Anthony stopped dead in his tracks. He slowly looked down and noticed something that he had never seen in his life. There were footprints left at the bottom of the riverbed by something large. But what animal could have left them? Just as Anthony's initial shock calmed, he heard something behind that made him snap around. But nothing had ever prepared Anthony for what he was about to face. One Saturday morning, Anthony decided to meditate on his favorite trail. He packed his bag full of everything he needed. He packed a lot of water because of the heat wave and a few energy bars in case he got hungry. He was all set to head out. It was a short drive that would only take him 15 minutes. But Anthony had no idea he was getting closer to danger with every mile. After he arrived, he parked his car and headed to the gates. After a few minutes of walking, he felt at peace. The air was fresh, and he was surrounded by nature. He was excited to keep walking the trails and get to his favorite spot. It would take another 20 minutes of walking to get to the river. But when Anthony would finally get there, he couldn't believe what he saw. Once Anthony got to the river, he couldn't believe that it was all dried up. There was barely any water, and parts of the riverbed normally at the bottom of the river were accessible to him. Anthony stepped down into the river and walked along it. It felt exciting to have a new path to explore. But then he saw something that made his blood run cold. Anthony stopped dead in his tracks. He slowly looked down and noticed something that he had never seen in his life. There were footprints left at the bottom of the riverbed by something large. But what animal could have left them? Just as Anthony's initial shock calmed, he heard something behind that made him snap around. But nothing had ever prepared Anthony for what he was about to face. Anthony snapped around and saw a man standing behind him. He was too well dressed to be a hiker. It was clear he could see his confusion and introduced himself. He was a professor at the University of Texas and was just as interested in the footprints as Anthony. Anthony was still confused as ever and asked the professor what had left the footprints. It was a burning question that stabbed at the back of his mind. But he wasn't ready for the answer. The professor told him that it was an Acrocanthosaurus, a dinosaur that inhabited the region over 100 million years ago. Fascinated by this discovery, Anthony was keen to learn more about the large extinct lizard. He asked for more information about the dinosaur and was willing to learn as much as he could. The professor smiled and taught him a few new things that he didn't know before. Anthony learned that the Acrocanthosaurus was an ancient giant. An adult weighed over 7 tons and looked down at many other dinosaurs at 60 feet tall. Uniquely, the Acrocanthosaurus is only made up of one species. The large lizard was a predatory one and would hunt other dinosaurs and other animals to eat. But that didn't explain the prints. The professor also offered up an explanation for the prints being there. Due to the excessive drought conditions this past summer, the river dried up completely in most locations, allowing for more tracks to be uncovered here in the park. Under normal river conditions, these newer tracks are underwater and are commonly filled in with sediment, making them buried and not as visible, he further explained. Anthony was satisfied with the explanation, and now his favorite spot had an even greater meaning for him.